history is I'm 54. When I was 42, the pain that was just in my low back from an injury 30 years ago when I was 23, it was no longer just my low back that was killing me. The neck, shoulders, knees, feet, everything was starting to hurt. So these techniques have been this journey, this process of figuring out how to normalize soft tissue, how to use movement and muscle contraction and stretch to increase slide surface and then create mastery to squeeze and release the tissue to create circulation. The human heart automatically contracts and relaxes, and it pumps about 1,600 gallons of blood every 24 hours. That's more gas than we typically use in an entire year in our car. It's trying to pump that fluid through tubing systems in the body at the smallest level, capillaries. There's 3 times more lymphatic fluid in the body, 3 times more lymph fluid in the body than blood. It doesn't have a heart to pump it. The only way it moves is through the squeeze and release of muscle contraction and slide surface in the tissue. The resistant stretching is fantastic to increase slide surface. So what you're doing right now is you're using small muscle contraction to create a pulse, a heartbeat, a pump in your low back. So highly sensitive tissue shuts down. Those cells lose their ability to contract. You can actually use small to medium contraction and do pulsing contraction, driving literal electrical current via the nervous system, because that's all the nervous system is. It's wiring, it's biological wiring. So as you practice muscle contraction, you'll actually get those cells to turn back on. I have a client, she's 58 years old. She has a steel rod clear down her back from, just upper back down to where the first lumbar vertebra starts. She's got 2 steel rods on each side of her low back, and she's got screws in every single lumbar vertebra. She has 2 steel discs in L4 and 5. She had the first surgery with the long rod when she was 12 years old. She had severe scoliosis. It was collapsing one of her lungs. She had chronic pain since she was 12. Now these are her words, not mine. I taught her this micro work. She took to it. She started doing gentle rocking and soothing contraction all throughout the day. And in 2 weeks, she stopped taking prescription drugs. She now, a year plus later, I asked her just last week, I said, "Are you still not taking pain pills?" She goes, "Oh yeah, I take Advil 2 to 3 times a week, that's it." She hasn't taken a pain pill in a year. Fascia doesn't just surround muscles. It's inside the muscle cells, forming a cytoskeleton, holding the organelles in place. Down at that level of small. It is the most pervasive tissue in your body. Ligaments become very, very dense and immobile because they're nothing but fascia. So through years of use, they start to solidify and then they tear. So actually ligaments should be slightly pliable also. So just keep that in mind, right? The surplus of sensory nerve tissue, sensation, is in the fascia. So anything close to a joint, you got a lot of tendon, you got ligament structures, lots of fascia. So now if you practice Kuhagen or DCT, right, start playing with now adding in more of these small movements while you're facilitating a stretch. You can pause and have them rotate, move up, down, get the pelvis, right? So you start cutting across and through more tissue and getting into different angles, right? Think more dimensional, unlocking, instead of linear. Right? The process is how much of this can we actually get to slide and move. And when you get a hot spot, pause them right on it and then get it where it's tolerable for them so it's not too painful, and then have them start to dig in, right? So you can add that in. It's a good add. Yeah. So thank you for attending.